going to start in the Rambam. It's the last page of the Talmudic sheets. Iniach lo impomo muskeres o mucheres. If the father left them, people have that. In the last page, the Rambam is Perek Gimel Alocha Beis of Ilchos Nachos. The Rambam says, Iniach lohem poro muskeres. The father left them a cow which is rental, or mucheres, or leased, or shoyoy be'efer, or the cow is gazing in the field. V'yoldo, and she gave birth. The cow gave birth. Abechor noitel bo ubevlodo bishnai. The firstborn son takes in the cow, bo means in it, ubevlodo and the baby, bishnai, double share. Now, the problem with the Rambam is right away the Ravid screams. Omar Avrom, the Avrom says, this author, posa kerebi, v'alocha kerebi. He passes like this price, and the Gemara says it's Rebbe. Rebbe holds that shvach de mimela, you get double share. But, according to Chachamim, they learn from the Pasuk Rosas Loi, Ad Motil Yodeh, that's to come to his hands. Therefore, only what's in his hands of the father. Right. But when it's not in his hands, he's out. So how can the Rambam paskin like Rebbe with Allah like Chacham? Simple. This question we asked the Makkah Mishnah, and the answers. First he starts. Yes.
The last word you
said. Yes.
I have it in slow motion.
Yes. Oh, look, Baruch Hashem, you listen.
Speed, I can finally understand what you're saying.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. So now, the Maggid Mishnah starts with a stira in the Rambam itself. The Rambam itself says clearly that needs to be, I think, in the Halacha Vov. We have Halacha Vov, we don't have.
We have only on the book, but there's only two pages.
Oh, it's an Halacha Dalet. No, it's right here in the sheets. It's right here in the sheets, Dalet.
On the left.
Yes. Ein ha-bechor, meaning Dalet. Ein ha-bechor noitel bishnayim. The firstborn son does not take a double share. B'shvach sheshofchu nechosim l'chamitas. They don't take a double share in assets which gain value after the death of the father. Elo male oiso hashvach bedomim. He gives that value with money. V'noiten hayeter laposhut. And the rest he gives to the simple brothers. Again, assets which change with added value after the death of the father. He doesn't get a double share. Rather, he gives the value to the family.
What means etta? What is etta?
He gives that value with money, translate the money, and then they split. He takes his share, and the rest he gives to the other brother. But he doesn't get a double share. Vehu, and this is.
He gets or he doesn't get?
He does not get a double share. Does not get a double share. What does he do? He values. He brings an appraisal how much the added value is, and he translates it with money. And he keeps a share for himself, and the other share he gives to the other brothers. A brother or all brothers, depends. He does not get a double share. And that's only Vehu, and this is Sheishtanu HaNechosim, when the assets are changed. כגון, for example, כרמל שנעשו שיבוילים. Carmel is what? Carmel is a small beginning growth of barley or whatever wheat, grains, and then it becomes, Shibolim becomes big, fat, tall, complete growth of those grains. Shibolim. The kafnio is a small dates when they start growing. Shenasu tmogin become dates, full growing fruit. In those cases, you have a big change. It comes by itself as a shvach mimela, but ishtani, a change. So shvach mimela, that change, what's the law? According to everyone, even Rebbe admits, as Rabbi Yehuda says, what? Not even Rebbe. So Machloikes, Rebbe and Chachom. According to Rebbe, he gets, according to Chachom, he doesn't. So what the Rama Paskin here like? Like Chachomim. He doesn't get. Aval shovchu machmas atzma. 1 second. But if the assets added value by themselves, velo nishtanu, they didn't change. Kegon, for example, ilon koton shegodal ve'ibo, a small tree that grew and became thicker. Ve'eretz, and land, she'elta sirtoi, that a flood came and brought in good new earth, and it becomes more fertilized. Arezet noitel b'shvach pishnayim, he takes an added value double share. Because by itself, no change. But if the orphan spent money to develop and add value, Eino noitel valley doesn't take. So here the Rama passing like Rav Popo, that we have a machloikes between Rebbe and Chachomim when there's a shvach to be made in Ishtane and it changed. But when there's a shvach to be made and there wasn't change, like a tree that grew and became thicker, and Bechor gets a double share. And when the Yosoidim did it, everybody agreed he doesn't get a double share. But the Rambam here passes clearly, like Chachomim, because Rav Papa said, according to Rebbe, by Carmel v'naisa shiboilim, or Kafnios v'naisa tmorim, small dates and big dates, according to Rebbe, he does get a double share. So I don't know if Meshinu. And yet an aloha base, the Rambam paskins, the Tosefta and Bechoros, that when you have a cow that was rented or leased, or a cow that had an embryo and it gave birth after the death of the father, Bechoy gets a double share.
What's the difference?
And the Gemara says that's Rebbe, not Chachomim. Kol Chachomim should not get a double share. Why? Because L'choiro is considered Shvachtim Melody Shtane. It's like Kafniois and became dates.
What's the difference between a river overflooding and putting fertile land on top versus a tree or a
because nothing changed in the land.
Nothing changed in the land?
No, a little bit more earth is nothing. It's becoming thicker, bigger, but nothing changes. Earth with earth.
There's no change at all?
No change. Oh. It's a mimela without a change.
It's without a change.
Like a tree became thicker.
Oh. So we see less than
earth with earth. Wood with more thicker wood. But if you have a little flower, it starts having a growth of a flower, of a fruit. And you have a whole new fruit comes out. Yeah. So different things. You have caramel, little thing, and then sprouted became a full grain. That's shvachtim mimela v'nishtani. How do I define rent and lease and a baby being born? From the Gemara's mashma, that we define it as what? What? We define it as shvachtim mimela. The Ishtani, that according to Rebbe, he gets a double share, according to Chacham he doesn't, according to Rav Papa's definition. So because of this stira, the Maggid Mishnah says as follows. We're going to read 3 lines in the right column in the Maggid Mishnah, 3 lines down in the big line. Let's see what he says. 3 lines down on the right column, It says a Magid Mishnah 3 lines down from the big fat lines. There's second fat lines.
Fat lines, right.
The
Second fat lines.
second fat lines. ותומא אני על הרב רבי אברום. I wondered on the Ravid. Omar, he wrote, שכך או יוסובו בכוונס רבים. That he thought, that's what the Rambam thinks. Means he's asking the Rambam Paskin by babies and by rental like Rebbe. And he says, it's not true. He says, Madua, why the Ravid? Lo isigo, did not ask, sheyesh b'dvorov stira, that is a contradiction in the Rambam itself. Instead of just noticing that the Rambam by rental and by babies, he passes like Rebbe Nalakachomi. He should have asked contradiction, a better question. Contradiction in the Rambam itself. That in Aloha Dalet, the Rambam passes like who? Like Chachomim. That Shvach de Bimele di Ishtane, Shvach by itself that changed. Like Carmel became small figs became big figs. Small little growth of grains became a full grain. It's Shvach de Bimele di Ishtane. And he doesn't get the bullshit. He in Aloha base, he does. Elavadai must be Das Rabbeinu Hu. The understanding of the Rambam, it is. Dal Kochoch, yes. Dal Kochoch, Lo Ukim Noai Braisa de Poro. By definition, we didn't put up this Braisa of a cow like Rebbe, Elo Mikamei Doma Rav Papa. It's only before the statement of Rav Papa that defined what's the machloiket between Rebbe and Chacham. Ela mikamei do Rav Papa, before Rav Papa said a statement, the be'aro v'umaska sirtoin, land that flood brought in earth, diklok, a palm tree, only became thicker. Rav Papa was the first one that said that afilu le'rabonon moidu the shoki. That even according to Chachamim, they admit that Shvach de Imeli, you get double share if it didn't change. Ooh, that's true. If Rav Papa was mechadish that. Now, we thought not so. In the beginning, before Rav Papa, we thought the Rabbonon Pligi, that the Chachamim argue that the Mechol doesn't get double share. Afile, even, b'shvocha de bimele, even b'shvach that comes by itself. V'lo ishtani, it didn't change. Before Rav Papa, we thought that the Rebbe and Chacham are extreme. Rebbe says, any shvach de bimele, doesn't, even if it changed, you get a double share. And Chacham say that shvach de bimele, shvach that came by itself, even if it didn't change, according to Chacham, you know, according to Chacham, Bechol doesn't get a double share. Came Rav Papa and minimized the machlokas. What? So according to the Rabbi, we give therefore, according to the Rabbi, that Chachamim argue even by Shvach Dimei Lo Ishtani that the Bechol doesn't get a double share. That's why in the Gemara Nahavamina, the Gemara put up the Braisa, the Tosefta, and in Bechoirois, Braisa the Torah, that Braisa of a cow, rental and lease, and a baby, Kerebi. Because really, if I want to define a cow that I rented out, the father rented out, how do I perceive rental? So the Rambam understands, the Magid explains according to the Rambam, that I perceive rental or babies, that the animal was conceived in the father's time, just gave birth after his death. The Rambam conceives that as a change by itself, Shvach Bimele, but Lo Yishtan, it didn't change. Aval, but, Bosar Dom Rav Papa, but after Rav Papa said that he minimized the machlokes, that the argument between Rebbe and Chachomim, it's only by Shvach, the Mimele, V'ishtane, by itself, and it changed. Ooh. Aval Bosar Dom Rav Papa, but after Rav Papa said, that afilu Rabbanon Moedin, even Chachom midmit, B'shvoch, the Mimele, V'lo Ishtani, if I have a Shvach by itself, it didn't change, like a tree that became thick. The Chachom midmit, if that's true, Braisa de Po, the Braisa of a cow rental, which is a change by itself, but it's a Shvach Mimele, but without a change. Afilu Kerabbonon Nasya, it follows even Chachomi, the Shvoch Mimele Lo Yishtane, it's a Shvach by itself, it didn't change. Zehu Das Rabbeinu. This is the opinion of our Rebbe. Who's our Rebbe? Rabbeinu Sha'ar B'Kol Gadol. Who's this Rabbeinu? Rabbeinu is the Rambam. V'nira li shitoso. Nechoino. Comes the Maginish, says it's a beautiful understanding of the Gemara. And I think, on my own opinion, the Maginish is a Rishon. And the Rambam is right. His opinion is right. Elo, however, shekoshe li ktsas. It's hard for me a little bit. Poquito. Para v'yoldo, a cow that gave birth. The mashma, it's mashma. He says, I understand the Rambam Shita, that rental, it's shvachti mimela, it didn't change. The father started the rental. He made the contract. And the money that comes in, nothing changed. It just worked the animal, it worked with it, nothing changed. The money comes in. It's a shmach mil without a change. But a cow that gave birth, that was pregnant and gave birth after the death of the father. Before it was a pregnant cow, now it's a baby coming out. How can you say it's a mimel with no change? That's what he answers. One second. It's a little bit hard for me. Probably all the cow that gave birth, the mashma, according to the Rambam, you can understand. The vlad, I mean, it's mashma is understood by itself. Or the vlad or ishtane, the baby, it is a change. Umikol ubo, before it was an embryo. The ashta now, vlad, now it's a baby. Embryo and a baby. It's not the same.
Now it's on its own.
It's on its own. It should be kekarmel, like small little grain. It starts growing. Shanasa shivun becomes a complete stock grain. He says that's hard for me. Ve'ika lemeiman, you couldn't answer. Shiny ubo. Different is an embryo. It's one of the thighs of his mother. There's a rule. The Gemara defines a baby like one of the thighs, one of the limbs of the mother was inside. So what was inside was a live animal. The analytical ishtani, therefore it's not going to change.
What's the 40-day mark? It becomes like different.
40 days, that's before forming. It's before forming. Talk about that the father's days was formed.
So it's an embryo.
But by animal, you don't need 40 days to be formed. X amount of days. By a human being, the Gemara says, it takes 40 days, 39 and a half days, 40 days. By the 40th day, the seed turns to a format of a baby. Today they can see it. They have like an ultrasound. And if a person kills the baby after 40th day, or in the 40th days and on, it's like murdering a half human being, murdering a human being. God forbid. Before that, it's different. There's halachas. Anyhow, and laws of Shabbos. So he says, since the embryo was part of the mother, one of the limbs of the mother, so therefore Before was a human being, before was an animal, now it's an animal. Before was part of the, before it wasn't part of the mother. Before it was the mother. And now it became a different entity, but nothing changed. Now the before was an embryo, now it's a living thing. No. Before, when the embryo was a living thing of the mother, was the mother, it's a living thing. And now it's a living thing, just entity on its own. But it was always a living thing. That's hard and small, but that's what he says. This reason needs an investigation. He doesn't like it so much. However, when we learned yesterday the Ritva brought the Re'o, his Rebbe. Look at Gimel on top of the page. Gimel, page Gimel in Slavot Kashitz, and top of the page, and the left column, above the Rimigash. The first line on top of the left column. Aval moiri netreu rachmon vishmerei. But my Rebbe should guard his soul. Okay? Who's the Rebbe of the Ritva? The Re'o. He used to say, She'im ukara'u bo, if the baby was recognized before the death of the father. Capish? Moidim chachomim. Chachomim will admit the avele kediklo ve'olim. It's like a tree that the stem became thicker. Ve'kedpitma de gufo. It's like fatting of the body became fatter. Because you have an embryo, the embryo became fatter and fatter, bigger and bigger. Then it fell out. But it always was there. It was an entity, and it continued to stay. It's a little bit different than the Rambam. Than the Magidish. Magidish, since was part of the mother, when the mother was alive, and when after his birth was also a life entity. Just changed personalities. Before it was part of the limb of the mother. Now it's part on its own. But the Re'o said no. The Rebbe, if the baby was recognized, it's like a stem, like a tree became thicker, and like the animal became fatter.
But this is still small.
What? Yes. Yes.
He also agrees with it. They're all agrees with that.
All agrees to the Rambam, but the definition, why he calls it Diklovolim, he says Ubeririachimo, he says Ukaru. It's not the same.
You have to define what's the change. It's very plural.
Right? Very plural. So that's why it comes in the Rambam. And that's why the Magidish says the Rambam not passing like Rebbe, passing like Chachomim.
Right, okay.
It's just he has a different definition how to define rental and giving birth of Ukaraubo to a baby. Okay. Now we're ready for the Shulchan Aruch and the Nesivos. Taram, taram, taram. Hey, ay, ay.
I didn't get the Shulchan Aruch. You didn't print that Shulchan Aruch.
Right, but we don't need. You don't need.
I was behind.
You don't need a Shulchan Aruch because the words that we want from Shulchan Aruch is printed, is quoted in the Nesivos. Nesivos, Siman Reishayin Chet Aleph. So I've got Aleph in Nesivos on top of the page. In the last page of Slavot Kashitz, we have the Nesivos. It starts by Aleph. Abechoy noitel bo ubivlodo. This is the language of the Shulchan Aruch, which is the language of the Rambam. The Rambam and Shulchan Aruch pass like the Rambam. That what? That what? That he gets a double share. Bechor gets a double share in the animal itself. Noitel bo. He takes in it. Bo. What does bo means? In it. What does in it mean? Fatting, babies,
everything.
Rental. I don't know.
Bo, everything. All the babies.
Bo, 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 bo. What does that bo mean?
Everything doesn't say difference.
Doesn't say. It says bo in it. What does in it mean?
Whatever is it.
Bo, bo, bo.
Whatever is
Bo, bo, bo.
Everything in the house. Everything in the
Okay,
body.
it's open discussion. That's it.
The Nesivas we learned, he said it's a rental, no.
1 second, you already know the Nesivas. You listened to the yesterday class. You know already. But now we go over it in a deeper way. Abechoir noitel bo biflot. The firstborn son takes a double share in it. Bo in it. Ubiflota in the baby. And also the embryo. The baby. Is being born. I ain't massive cotton vov. Look at this massive cotton vov. Now what it means, ba, what is ba? Da'ainu b'shvach. Means the added value of the cow. It's a very general language. Where's the added value from what? Being fat, rental, what is shvach? Mashma mitvorov. Then the Siva says you can understand, infer from the words of the Sma, Pshat and the Rambam and Shkono, the Beschirus, rental, Einon Noitel Pishtayim, does not get a double share. Of course, Shvach, Shvocho, the Shvach, the added value of the cow, means the cow became fatter, bigger, taller, stronger, more mesel, or I forgot the name of the Japanese call those cows that they don't move barely. Massage them all day.
Wagyu?
Yeah, how they call it?
Wagyu.
Wagyu, got it. It's a Wagyu, who knows what? A Wagyu. But mashma from his words, mashma mitzvot. The beschirus, but if it's rental, Einon noitel b'shtayim, does not get a double share. U'balechem Mishnah kosav, the Lechem Mishnah wrote, not like this man. She'af b'schirus noitel. According to the Rambam, even rentally takes. Why? Mishum dekaim alot, because the halacha is the yeshno leschirus mitchila v'atzoif. Schirus, the methods of paying, is from the beginning to the end. Every slot of time that produces a debt of a pruta, boom, you need to pay. A lot of small slots. So since Chirus from beginning to the end means you cut it from beginning to the end, small pieces, that tells you that even Chirus he takes, it's more connected to the animal. It's like part of the animal.
So it means
This is the smoke of the Lechem
we
Mishnah.
hold back the not a mechira. We hold the
Yes.
stamshus.
Every minute.
But it comes out of the animal. It's attached to the animal. Ubaktsoi sachoishem tomolo. The Ktsoi Shachona had a big wonder on him. Though mikol mokem milvu. Even though it's a slot of small pieces of time that produces pruta, still, pruta is the smallest value of a coin, smallest value of coins. Though mikol mokem, but still, anyhow, milvu, it's alone. Because every slot of amount of time that produces pruta, you didn't pay it. You didn't pay it. It's a debt. Debt's like a loan. And that debt accumulated after the father's death even. Or even the father's before he died. But it's just a debt. And the rule is, it's not better than a loan that came to, that the time, the due time came in the time of the father, the life of the father, which is just virtual debt. Right now, it's a debt, it's a virtual debt. And therefore, it's not attached to anything. And therefore, it's a shvach to be mele that he doesn't get, Bechol doesn't get a double share. Iron Sham, look there. Comes in the Sivas and he says, Veloi Shami alone. We don't hear. Who is we? The Nesivah says, in my Besmedrish, I can't hear Loi Svoris Alechem Mishnah. Not the understanding of the Lechem Mishnah. Velo Svoris Akhtoi Shachoisha, not the Svor of the Shachoisha. He's not arguing with a proof. In Svor, he doesn't like it. It's very, very unique Nesivos. You almost never found the Nesivos that argues head-to-head with Svor. He says, I don't accept your Svor. Because Raya is proved. You ever saw such a Nesivos of Shleiman? Never, right?
No,
Almost
no.
never. And I don't
But
remember.
in
I don't remember such Nesivos.
But the
But there's
point is,
tens of thousands of Nesivos. Tens of thousands. Anyhow. And he says, I don't hear the Svor of not the Lechem Mishnah, not the Ktsois. The Kan here, Mischirus Atzomeach. Here we talk about rental that grew Achar Misas Oviv Mairi. That it grew after the death of the father we're dealing. Dunya similar to Shvach Sheshok Nechosim. Achar Misas Oviv. Like any other added value that grew after the death of the father. That's what it says. Shvach Sheshok Nechosim Achar Misas Avir. Shvach, that the assets became added value after the death of the father, and it brings rental. So which rental do we talk about? Rental that was used at the time of the father, or rental that was used after the father's death?
and Avo is not that way.
Un momento.
Avo is not that
Well,
way.
let me finish. Ve'ein efresh. There's no different. In yesh l'schirus mitchila v'atzoif or rak levasoif. No difference if schirus has been slots of small timing of pruta, or only in the end when it accumulates many prutos together, then is the due to pay. It doesn't matter how the methods, how it accumulates. Every slot of pruto in the end. Sof kol sof, bottom line, the schirus accumulated grew, or even though slot of pruto, but when father died, you have no slots of pruto. And cholivs in the end is after the death of the father. So the rentals grew after the death of the father. So therefore, it's not like the Lechem Mishnah that says you get a double share because Chittul means the father did it, or the Ktsois he says like a loan, and there's Chachom that says you get it. There's an opinion of Chachom you get it. He says it's not true. Doesn't matter. It's all came after the death of the father. So we see clearly the Nesivos learns what Ishtamshus. Otherwise, there's no kasha in Svara. The Nesivos held in Svara that rental means you cannot use for free. But if the Nesivos held that it's the father made a Maisakinyan, the father acquired, he sold the renter rights of usage, and then they just owe a debt for that. But it was all done in the life of the father. The Nesivos has no cash in Svara, right? La 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 la. They understood that Schirus is a kinyan from the father. And the Nesivos understood Misvora Pshuto, that really is a Shtamshus. But really we know, after what we learned, we've been educating here in the Besmedrash, that's really Machlokes Rishonim. Toy says, against one teretz of the Toy right? So it's really Machlokes Rishonim.
Tosafos, and what did you say?
Toy brings two answers. In Bometzia, we said there's two understanding, and when we start looking deep in the Sugya, we found the Ritvo, the Shitosoy, there and here, holds and what? It's really a Maisakin, as we call it alone. He holds like the Ktsois instead of the Mishnah. And the Toisa Seri holds Ishtamshus. It's clearly Machlokes Rishonim. We showed it clear, the language all over. Good. Now this story which I told you is not mine. It's my Rebbe. Who's my Rebbe? Moshe Hirsch. Because he printed all inside. He didn't stop printing. He printed to show you that really the Kivega to study and the Kibbutz is Machlokes Rishonim. And really what the Nesivos are screaming is Machlokes Rishonim. So if I want to know what's the halakha, it's Machlokes Rishonim. It's a doubt. Not clear. There's two sides in the sugya, and each one calculates all the sugya contains understanding. There's two different methods of understanding. It's a suffix. There's a rule. What happens if you have a suffix? The one who's muchzor gets a double share. One who's holding it, if the bechor is holding it in his hand, a double share. If not, I'm going to klavaraya, you cannot take it out from the brothers. Capish? Don't be da lachal ma'isa. If you ask me, after we learning the sugya for a long time, right? For 2 weeks, what's the halacha? By the way, I just want to say something very important. One of the most important things I learned from my Rebbe is when we teach in yeshiva how to learn, what I do in yeshiva, I teach you how to think, how to learn, right? A lot of yeshivot, they teach you how to learn, but they don't try to apply it la halacha. And here, I try to teach you how to learn and understand, but I want to show you how you have to carry it all the way down to halacha. It's not abstract ideas. It's a real halacha. So, right. Lumdus is not abstract, different ideas this way, that way. Principles are halacha. You have to see how it follows the halacha. It's not. That's why when somebody is not a Talmud Chacham and in the learning yeshiva, it just reads an open, he sees one word, that's it, he cuts off. If he doesn't learn the sugya well deep, he can make a lot of mistakes. To do that takes time. And to do that it takes time. Time. What it takes, Melech? A lot of time. Thinking and time. It can be the biggest genius. It takes time. Doesn't Hashem makes us to not understand things only 1 second at a time. Hashem makes us not understand things only after a while. First of all, to make us humble, but really in the deeper sense that if we don't work hard, Hashem doesn't reveal to us that secrets. Hashem wants to give us it, but we have to work for it. We have to show Hashem what we really want. When we show Hashem what we want, work hard. Yagoto, what's also time? You work hard, you found Hashem. Yes, Rabbi.
The Rebbe said he said, who's greater, a prosek or a lumdin? He said a lumdin is greater than prosek.
That's not there's no havamina not so. We in the Besmedish of the Rebbe for us, we are trained and ingrained into us as simple. Ach mikol mokom, however anyhow, nire lefia newsnight. I'm continuing on the Nesivos. However it looks like to my poor knowledge, Ikar, the main. Now comes the Nesivos and wants to conclude a side. This is B'siyat HaNishmai, with help of Hashem. Ach mikol mokom, however anyhow, nire lefia newsnight, it looks to my poor knowledge, Ikar, the main, she'ein on noitel aschirus, it does not, the Bechor, firstborn son, does not get a double share in rental money that comes in from the father's contracts. Father had a contract, he leased a building, and he died. The firstborn son does not get a double share in the rental that comes in from the father's contract. But why? Why? If schirus is what? Grew afterwards. Or no, if the father made the contract, so he should get the double share. But he's taking the side that is like a usage, and that's why he does not get a double share. Why? But he gives an eretz svara. The ein lecho ishtani godol mizeh. There's no greater change than a cow that produces a cow, and then after the death produces rental. Why? Why there's no greater change? The Mali, here's a svara of the Nesivos. Here the Nesivos is being shown and is a big svara, a poisik svara. The Mali sha'ilon oitzi peos. What is it for me that the tree, the stem, the tree took out fruits, fruition of fruits? She'ein ha'bechor noitel afilu ha'pagim shenasot morim. A firstborn son does not take even the little figs or little dates and became big dates. Or, he says it should be the same. Shabeim also pego, that the cow made fruits. What are the fruits? Alidei malachah, through work. She produced from work animal to money, dineros. He says there's also a change. Because I'm going to translate the work to money, the value. It's for sure, it's something new. It's no greater change. The same way, an animal that became pregnant after the death of the father, she gave birth to a baby. Doesn't get a double share. If, let's say, the father died and the animal conceived was pregnant after the death of the father, everybody will agree, the K'tsoisim agrees on what? It's a new shmach, it's shtach nishtana, right? Same thing is rental. Rental, he says, is something new. Now, if the father made the contract, and the contract is being translated to money at the time of the father, he can say, shinui, and michoyah.
No.
It's all the shitosa. The whole nesivas is all according to his understanding. What? It's only because of shimush. And he said in Tzvah, it's ishtane. But if it's not shimush, it's a ma'isikin in the beginning of the father's time. So already it was being translated to money in the father's time already. You just can define it as a milva or not. Let's continue on. According to this, Vadai, surely, this is in the Siyat Nishma. According to this, Vadai.
You skip. Ikaratam. Ikaratam.
Ikaratam. So it's not in the Slabot Kashits. No, I have here. Here I have, I think so.
Yeah. After the say.
I have it here. I have it. Ikaratam. They jumped a piece that maybe they should print out the people. And I understand why they jump. You know what the reason is? Because really this isn't a third chelik. We're supposed to learn this next week. But what I did in mine when I taught you guys, I already brought the end because I had to explain the Rashash and the Toises, right? So I already brought this Yesoy. Right? But they wanted to make different, my Rebbe wanted to make a different order. But according to the order we started here in this Medrash, it should really follow through. So let's continue the way we follow.
So Slavot Kashit is very precise.
Very. Everything is exact, with a lot of thinking. What? Yes, say the Chatzir. Don't forget my Rebbe, Reb Moshe Hirsch, before he started saying, he already learned it 20 times. He taught it already. So everything is precise and exact. And every time he added more, he showed him when he found the end there, he all printed and cut it and put it in. They spent time on this. This is worth gold. B'ezrat Hashem, as long as you learn more, B'ezrat Hashem with me, with the Talmud Kashits, it's gold. You see, wow. You just have to work hard to see it. You have to squeeze it. If you don't squeeze it, you don't just see it. You just really don't know what's the connection, what's the point. It looks like bubbles. Ve'ikaratam, the main reason is, he says, what's going on here? What's the main reason why Shvach, added value by itself, he does get a double share the B'choy. And Shvach dishtane, but there is added value that change, and on Noitel Pishtam, he doesn't get a double share. What's the difference? The Lichoy Kosher. Apparently, it's hard to understand even one of Shach. Either way you go, it's hard. Why? Those were in one of Shach. I don't know.
If you look at it this way, look at it that way.
You look at this way, that way, you need to understand.
Either way you look at it.
Either way you look at it is a problem. Why?
Right, that's it.
if the firstborn son merits the body of the things, b'shas hamis, in the time of the death of the father, if the bechor inherits isoiche, the body of the cow at the time of the death, af shvocha d'ishtani, even added value to change, shaloi, is whatever belongs to him became added value. That's the Rashash Kash. Very good, Michal. That's why I started the Rashash. It's a very fundamental. And I said it was like a bug, virus. What's going on? Does it make sense?
What if it's his?
If the cow is his, because the cow exists, and the time of the father, forget about the father. His cow added value.
Even if it's a big change.
Even big change, even mimela and nishtani. V'eino zoiche b'shas misa. But if he doesn't merit in the time of the death, only until he wants to merit it, av shvoch de mimela, even shvach the word by itself, lavdide is not his. There's a question in Shalom. Ve'alkein kosavaran. Because of this fundamental question the Ran wrote. And I want to learn, Bezal Hashem, the Ran inside. I asked everyone to, I'm sure you printed it, right? Last week you printed it. People will be able to learn the Ran inside and the Sivis inside of it. But he isn't short. That's what the Ran wrote. The Beis Yosef broadened the tools that are showing. שחלק בכוירו מתונה כרחמונה. The share of the firstborn son, the Torah calls as a gift. If I give someone a gift and I mezak it to him, I merit it to him through somebody else. Like Ehuv, right? The rabbi takes the Ehuv, he gives it to a shliach, says, mezak it for the whole city, for the whole community. Right? We had Shavuos, we had 2 days. We had Yom Tov and Shabbos, right? So in my house, what I did as a rabbi of that Tzion, I mezakeh for all the students, everybody in the yeshiva. If they didn't do Eilu, I do Eilu for them. So mezakeh, I did a zikui for everyone through a shliach, through intermediary. One who gives a gift and he merits it through somebody else. The receiver, this is the punchline. The receiver does not merit it until he hears and he says, I agree to receive. Because if when he heard about it he shouted, he doesn't merit. Even something we know for sure he won. $1 million has been transferred to you in a bank. And who doesn't want that money? By the way, Abraham Kanevsky did one.
Well, you wouldn't want it because you have people, and the problems come in.
Problems comes with it. Very good.
Why do you want what?
Okay, so now $1 million, $50,000.
Even so, he wants a duck. You have to know who to give to, and everybody's not. והובו גם כן דיר והר"ן הם שנו קובצס. וסיים שם הר"ן conclude. ומכאן אני אומר, from here I say, כשזיכו לו מתונה דאחר, when you mezake, you merit a gift to somebody else through somebody intermediate, v'ishbicha, and the gift became added value. For example, I gave a gift, a land or fruits, and was small stocks and became big stocks of grains. The added value belongs to the giver and not to the receiver. Why? This is a very big wonder. Normal merit from somebody else. When he says yes, he gets it from one time he gave me. He says, I want to give you a gift. Here's a gift. And 2 days later, Herbat says, yeah, sure, I want that gift. So from when the gift is mine? When I say yes, or when he gave it to me? When he gave. What's the raya? Do beshichu, because when you free a slave, free a slave, you give him the biggest gift. You give him his body for himself. Slave. He wants to be a slave. So he wants to be free. I free him, and he says yes. He's meshuchor. He's free from the mafreya. If he lived with a Jewish woman between the time I free him till he heard about it, he doesn't get lashes. Okay. Umimele didei ashbach, and therefore by itself, whatever grew, if it's lemafreya, so whatever grew from the time of the death of the father that he gave, because when a person dies, as Torah says, as if the father gave the son a double share. He gave the gift when he died, the extra share of the firstborn son. So that moment he dies, he gave that gift. 2 months later, the firstborn says, okay, let's now make setup, and I want to merit my double share. Okay? What happens in a month between? In the meantime, came rental. In the meantime, came shvach dishtan, never change. So he says, once he says yes, let's be retracted. So then the body grew now, the added value. So what I care that it changed, but it's his. Lemafreya, the body is his, and the body now added value. Doesn't matter change or not change. It's his, retroactively.
Yeah, but wait, this is it. It's his what at the time it was given, and then it grew in between.
Got it, very good. It was his at the time of giving, so whatever grows is his. If I have a cow, then it's mine. Doesn't matter if added value came through a change. Shalom Aleichem, what's his name? Sabah, I forgot his name. Moshe, Baruch haba. Doesn't matter if it added by itself, or this is yours, whatever grows is yours. What comes from yours. Therefore you must say the reason is, Mishum Da'arif, the Rif, the Abalfasi, Svirele holds, Gabe Shichu, reference for freeing of slave, Be'omar ten Shichu Zeh. The Rif holds, if he said a language of a gift, I'm giving you this freedom of your body for yourself. You have a slave, and his master says, 10, what's the word 10? Matana, gift. I'm giving this freedom to you. So the Rif brings Gemaras that depends on the language. But if you said the language of a gift, the Gita Lo'ava, the bill of freedom, it doesn't become only the Mataliyod until it comes to the hands of the receiver of the slave.
Which is him.
The Ayin Shomar Rambam. Look at the Rambam also holds like the Rif. Ubalechem Mishnah explains the Rambam. The 10, the definition of a gift. When I say, I give you 10, Ave Bitnai Nesina. This is the punchline. It's a gift with condition.
It's not ma'achshov, ve'ayom na'achshov. It's like a tnai.
What does a tnai means? Certain things I give, and at condition, well, let's see what's the condition is.
But the condition, the giving or the receiving?
Okay, so he will explain which condition. What is the condition? A little bit more, let me get it. Ve'ayin ma shekasafti besifri Toras Gitin. The Nesima says, look at my book that I wrote in Toras Gitin, Maseches Gitin, on this Rambam and Rif. The Aveshiu. Wow, wee. Why?
Shiur?
What is wee? It's the name of a company, right? The Aveshiu. It is a shiur. What is a shiur? Leftover. What does that mean? What does a leftover mean? No, he will explain. Don't worry. The Nesimus will explain everything. I'll explain you now by heart before he spells it inside. He gives the body now, and he holds back the fruits. Yes. Let's see inside.
He brings the Toras Gitin here.
Good. But I don't want to read it right now because it'll mix people up. First, people have to get the idea. Then go over it, chew it, and understand. The Soiver Aran holds. Rachmona Kosav, since the merciful one wrote, Hashem, wrote in the Torah, Losas loy to give him as a gift. So the language of the Torah is what? Latet, give. Oh. And we know in the laws of giving, depends which language you use. But in the Torah used the gift and the language of latet, give. The Torah used this language of a gift, Ooh. Let's open the rules of what is a gift with the word 10. This is similar to one who merits somebody else with condition of the gift. Is like he leaves over, he holds back in his gift. The koime, like one who says, right now, today I'm giving you a gift. And after you come to your hands, I'm giving you right now the gift, but after it gets to your hands. What does that mean? I'm giving you right now, but after it comes to your hands. It's a contradictory words. Now is now.
No, that's only the giving.
Let's see.
The receiving.
The Gemara by us in Bava Basra says, if I give a gift from now and after my death, what does that mean? It's a Gemara by us, Kuf Chof, Hey, Vo, by Yisafta and all that stories. It's like he's giving from today and after the death. What does it mean? All the added value, all the shvach of the fruits, means usage fruits, rental, babies. Shvach haperot, shebish'as hamiso, from the time of the death, shel hanoisen, but he holds back, the giver's holding it back. V'shvach haguf, and the added value of the body, fat, the tree became thicker. Ushel hamekabel is the receiver.
It is the receiver.
It is the receiver. That's it. Let's go over it. When I say, when the Torah says, when the father dies, he gives the firstborn son a double share. What does it mean he gives? He gives, I'm giving it to you. Say, I'm giving you, we're 10. But when the person receives it, when the Bechor receives it, when he says, I want, when he hears about his father's death, and he says, okay, I want now to split the share, it can be quiet. When we start talking about the assets, whatever it is, whatever the time he speaks about it, that he wants it, only then he receives the double share. What happened between the time of the giving of the father's death till the Bechor said yes? It's like from now the body, but I'm holding back the fruits until he says yes. So whatever the body adds, fats, the stem becomes thicker, belongs to who? To the Bechor, because his body became fatter. But the fruits, the giver held back until he says yes. Ooh, therefore, Ochenami here also. Since the Torah was careful on the gift, that what? The Torah says, the first, second, the double share, it's a gift of a 10. The Bechor doesn't merit. Only the added value of the body itself retroactively. But any added value that change, is like fruits that the father held back until he says yes. Those that were there before the fulfillment of the condition, which means saying yes, that's the fulfillment of the condition. Anything that was there before the fulfillment of the condition, and Shalaloisen that belongs to the giver, or those that continue in him is the children, which is equal share.
According
to this, Vadai the schir was surely the rental, the rental of the cow. The Chentoro shenisabo beyolda achar moison. Sending a cow that was conceived and gave birth after his death. Keperos dom is like fruits. Shushal anoisen belongs to the giver, the father. The Ainu Ayosha, which means the inheritors, what does belong to the son is the body itself, and the added value of the body itself. וכן משמע לא שו... Okay, before we
Wait a second. Why you don't say that the added value of the cow when she's rented? It has to do with the goof.
That was the kasha. The kasha wasn't one of them. If Ezekiel, he merits it, so not the cow is his, whatever grows on the cow, that's what I give to Shvach Mimele, Shvach the Ishtane. If it's my cow from the time of the death, so Shvach HaGuf. The answer is, the father held back. Since the time they used the language of the double share as the word gift of 10, the rule of 10 is, one second, the rule of 10 is, that when it's as if I say, I give it to you now, but you have to say yes. What I give now, and what do you have to say yes? I give now the body and whatever comes out of the body. One says, Shvach of the goof itself. And I hold back fruits. What is fruits? Anything which has changed, not from the body itself. That's a definition. I held back until say yes.
So again, it's why the Shvach HaGuf is not called a shiur.
Because he holds Shvach HaGuf, that's the whole point. Since the Nesivus holds the Shitosa. That the Shvach HaGuf is not alone. It's not a Maisakinan as a death. You hold the Shvach HaGuf is a usage of the body and of the body that came as Shvach, but it's Shinui. Because before it was a body, now the Molocha produces money. So money and body is definitely fruit, it's something new. It's a Shinui. So the kasha was, but the body is mine, let the Shinui be mine? No. The body is yours, but the Shinui he held back. Because the Nai Shiur in the giving.
You say Shvach HaGuf is his.
Yes, but so the Bimela let Shishtana also be his. He held back. He did a Shiur in the giving, died by the giving, by the Nesina.
Yeah, but what happened?
This is the trick of the Nesina, is the way he explains the God. We have to relearn the God inside. In the words, I printed out. Read inside well what he said. Then see again what the Nesivus defines. Pshat and Erad. And then there's this Chiddush. Maybe let's start searching and making, let's open our minds.